some fails that I had when I did these cookies. I'm getting ready to ice them today, which I have never done royal icing before. You know, the kind of icing on cookies that looks like perfection, just like almost like plastic. They're so perfect. So here's a couple things that I found out that happen when you bake and make some small mistakes. So I unrolled my parchment paper to put on my baking sheets, and you know, it's kind of curled, so I folded them under. I folded the crease and folded them under, but part of the edges of the parchment paper were still kind of folded up. You know, they kind of swooped upwards. And so this is what happened. Can you see that? Because the parchment paper wasn't flat on the cookie sheet. So it baked in the curvature of the parchment paper. So that is a tip there. Make sure that your parchment paper is flat, or get one of those. I think I'm gonna invest in one of those silicone baking sheets you just put right on your baking. It's a silicone sheet that goes right on top of your baking pan, if that makes sense. And the second thing is, I think that some of my dough was just a little too thick. So it's supposed to be about 1/4 inch thick, and this was just a little too thick. So do you see? This has cracked. It almost looks like a really cool aged effect that you like on furniture, but not on cookies. So that was another thing I noticed. See how it's kind of all crackled? Like, this thickness is really great. This thickness is not. And this doesn't have the crackled top front, and this cookie does. Okay, so I have made my piping frosting. It's like powdered sugar, meringue, and some extract and water. The recipe will be over on the blog. I'll refer you to that as well. But I'm going to outline my cookies. Let me see if I can angle this down. Outline my cookies for you guys with this piping bottle. And I guess I'm supposed to take some of this frosting and water it down with a squirt bottle until it's the right consistency, and then load it into my piping bottle, and then I will take you along on this piping journey. Okay, so I'm adding water to this little portion of my icing, and trying to make it a specific consistency. And Jacqueline talks all about this over on her Instagram, her Insta story. I think she has a series on IGTV. But you want the peaks within your icing to be really soft, I guess. So okay, this looks more like flood icing, but so let's see. I'm supposed to wrap this up. This, and then I'm going to use the saran wrap to get this into the bottle, I guess, with no mess. We'll see how this goes. Clearly, I need some practice on this. Right, there it goes. You just gotta push, gotta apply some pressure. Yeah, see, it's going in there. And so I have a number 2 tip on this piping or icing bottle. Clearly, I don't know all the terminology because I don't really bake, but I'm giving this a go. So let's do this. Okay, so now these are all outlined, and then I have to do what's called flooding, and that is a little bit more of a watered down consistency, just a little bit more watered down, and you basically fill in the outline of the cookie that you just did. So I'm going to use the same method with the icing in the saran wrap, putting it into another bottle that I have. And the reason I'm doing it all white is because I'm then going to take a stencil and stencil a really cute pattern on the shamrocks. So that wasn't so bad. I figured out along the way as I was piping the outline that basically if you squeeze it and let it come out and then just kind of keep it hovered above the cookie just a little bit, like 1/4 of an inch, and let the line just kind of form as you're going around the cookie, then this one's my favorite because it turned out just about perfect. So by the last one, I had it down. I am getting ready to flood my cookies. So I am going to, I chose like my least favorite cookie because it's clearly really bad. So I'm gonna test it on that. So I just added some water with my squirt bottle to this to get it the right consistency to flood the cookies. And I'm gonna put it in this saran wrap and load it into my bottle like I did with the outlining icing. So I put a number 12 tip on. It's got a larger opening because I don't have a number 10. So I am using a number 12. So let's see how this flooding goes. Never done this before in my life. Whoa, yikes. And these cookies are tiny. So. Okay, clearly that's not the right consistency. So I am going to have to, it's not spreading out like it should. So I need to add a little bit more water to it. Dang it. See, it shouldn't be peaking like that. So I'm gonna scrape it and start over. Okay, so I have remixed, dumped it all out, added water to the icing. So it's a little bit of a thinner consistency. And I'm just gonna start flooding my cookies now. And what the outline does is holds the frosting inside on top of the cookie. Let's see. So I have to spread this out with a toothpick. But I hear it a lot easier to work with. I think I have way too much frosting on here, and I think that maybe the tip of the piping bottle is just a little bit too big, but I don't have a smaller tip, so I'm just gonna have to roll with it. We'll see what happens. This is hard. Okay, so after perfecting this through all, I think I might have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I have 13 cookies of a baker's dozen that I am practicing on today. And so I'm going to show you the last cookie because I finally got it down. The outline will actually hold in the frosting, or sorry, I keep calling it frosting, but it's icing. It fills itself out, so it self-levels. So you can have little peaks in the icing, but they will fix themselves. So you're just gonna fill in little corners, and then what you can do is go back and see how that outline just holds the icing in really well. Then you come back with a toothpick or an icing pick, and you just kind of push the icing into the gaps that you need it to go into. And there you go. So any little peaks you make, they will level themselves out. So the little air bubbles, you want to get those out. I noticed on a few of my cookies, they have little air bubbles in the frosting. Icing, in the icing. Okay, so you can see how they have started to set. And you can see some bubbles in the frosting. The icing, I'm not supposed to be calling it frosting because it's icing. So I'm not sure why it bubbled like that, but that's okay. These are the stencils I got. You can buy these at Michael's, and if you can get them at 40% off, that's great. These are individually wrapped, and today we're going to make this, use this stencil right here. So I'm going to also use this color mist, and you can pick this up at Michael's or Walmart. So I'm kind of excited to try this. It's super cute. We'll see. Okay, so here's my first cookie, and I've not done this before, so here we go. Ready? Wish me luck. Gotta shake this up, and you wanna mist it over in one shot. Ready? Okay, here we go. Ta-da! How cute. That is so cute.